Okay guys, I just got back from editing part 5 and there's a couple things in there I want to work on and one that I want to address. I once again did not realize how close I was zoomed in, so much of that last part of the footage was out of frame, and I did want to show this fuel pump for anybody who hasn't had one of these apart like myself. I'm pretty sure I haven't opened one of these. And then the other part is my volume. That's my own fault. I need to work on speaking up on my videos. So anyway, on this fuel pump, I was speculating that it was a diaphragm and a spring, and that's what it pretty much turned out to be, although it does have a couple of valves on it. And it reminded me of those older Briggs and Stratton carburetors that have the long intake throat, and there's a pump on the side of it. And the funny thing is if you look in the back of that footage of any of my videos, this thing has been sitting on my bench here for probably about 2 years now. This is what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know Briggs carburetors intimately, but I believe this is called a vacuum jet. So that's the little fuel pump right there, and this just looks like a larger version of what's in there. So I guess Briggs had something that worked and they just stuck with it. So there's the backing plate, there's the body with a gasket on the back of it, and then the diaphragm that sits on that, and then that ring and the spring, and it all bolts together like that. I'm going to spray it down with some carburetor cleaner, because it does have a little bit of grit on it, but all in all it looks pretty good. Nothing like the carburetor. Being plastic, of course, probably helped, but I'm not seeing or smelling any varnish in it, so I guess the fuel must have drained out of this, but not the carburetor. So I did want to get some better footage for that, so that's that. I will clean this up and put it back together. The carburetor is still soaking, and so I will pick back up when that's ready to go back together. So thanks for watching. Alright, cleaned and ready to go. Carburetor will be next. That's a little rough still, so I'm gonna clean that out. A lot better. Okay, let's get it reinstalled and see if it works. I kind of have a suspicion that it might. Alright, we'll get some fuel. Okay, so I filled this fuel line up, depending on gravity feed, to get it into the carburetor. Since I don't have the fuel pump hooked up. Let's see if we can make lots of noise. Still don't have the muffler. No noise. Let me prime the carburetor. Try that. Nope. Closer. Well, if I had 3 hands, I would have been able to get the camera off in time to show the nickel plating or whatever they plated with this with burning off while I was revving it up. Obviously this carburetor is just bunk. It ran the same as the last time I tried it in that previous clip. I took it apart again. Couldn't find anything wrong other than that main jet that I can't get out, but it is clean on the way through. However, I don't know if this one has those side holes in it, and if it does, maybe that's my problem. Because it doesn't look like I have much of an idle circuit, because for idle it has to be on full choke. I can let go of the choke when I rev it up, but even then it kind of backfires some, so there's something wrong in there. And I had hooked the fuel pump back up since then just to see if maybe it was somehow starving for fuel doing the gravity feed thing, but no, it's running exactly the same as it did yesterday. So it's looking like I'll tear into that again, and also may just look for a replacement. At least it's quieter now. That's the manifold I made. So I just got I forget, I think it was a 1/2 inch fitting, 45 degree, 3/4 inch, and then a new muffler screwed into that. So that clears it. Actually fits nicely. Well, that's going to be it for now until I can come up with a solution to this fuel problem. Check this out, guys. One of those very rare instances where an easy out actually worked. I fully expected to break that because obviously it's a small easy out. I was using this big 10-inch crescent wrench on it, and it really is a crescent wrench. And I mean, I was wrenching on it hard. I fully expected that thing to snap. I figured I had nothing to lose, so I kept going for it, and it came out. And this jet is built onto the emulsion tube. They're one and the same. Makes me wonder though why they got 2 sets of threads on it. That's interesting. And so it does have the side holes, and most of them are clear like you can see there, but I think there is, can't go by the bottom ones because the easy out is in there. I thought I did see some that were blocked up, but I guess not. Bottom ones may or may not have been, but like I said, the easy out's stuck in there. I'll get it out. I'll get it out, but obviously that's not gonna tell us if those were plugged or not before the easy out got stuck in it. Though it almost looks like there is dirt down there. I wonder if this middle section might be the idle jets. The upper one is obviously the main because it just goes right into the emulsion tube, or it is the emulsion tube. Anyway, this thing's boogered up. I really chewed the heck out of the end of it with the screwdriver trying to get it out that way before I thought of the easy out. So now I'm going to do some research and try to find a replacement jet / emulsion tube for this thing. But an easy out working without breaking is such a rare instance, I felt that was worth sharing. Thanks for watching. Well, upon research, this bizarre jet / emulsion tube is no longer available at most places, and the few sources that say they can get it cost more than a replacement carburetor. So I'm going to attempt to reuse this. I hate putting it back in. When I got the easy out, I did find these two holes here were plugged, but whether they were originally plugged and that was my problem, or they got plugged from jamming the easy out in there and all these metal shavings that were floating around, I don't know. But I've run it through the cleaner and then filed all the holes, so it should be okay. See if I can even get it back in place in the condition it's in. I'm thinking not. I think it's just too galled up to use. I think the easy out opened it up a little bit. So I did notice, if you can't see it in the camera, but under a magnifying glass there's a fine crack on each side. So looks like I may be looking for a replacement carburetor. Yeah, that's just locking itself in there, and it's got to go way up there. So that guy is done. Okay, it's some time after that last clip where I've been fighting with this carburetor on the Troy Bilt. I'm pretty sure I've got this carburetor cleaned and functional, and as you saw, I had the damaged jet that unfortunately cost more than the carburetor to replace. If I had a collet chuck, I'd be tempted to try to make something like that. I mean, it's not a complicated device, it's just small. So, oh well. Anyway, I picked this up, or ordered this. It arrived today, so let's see what we got in the box. Gasket. This was actually a set. It came with a bunch of miscellaneous junk. Fuel shut off. No brand spark plug. Fuel filter. There was supposed to be two of these, but oh well, maybe it's still in here somewhere. Yep, there it is. And a Chingaderas. got the idle screw screwed all the way in. Physically, I'd say it's a pretty good clone. I've seen a lot of guys swear at these Chinese clones, but I'm running at least 2, if not 3 of them, and I've had pretty good luck with them so far. But I understand their complaints are valid because they've shown some pictures of weird things like passages drilled through or not drilled. But so far I haven't had the misfortune of having those kinds of problems. You know what? Just for fun, let's take a look at the inside. Unfortunately, I probably won't be putting this in anytime soon. Our winter finally came in and it's too wet and cold to work outside, and putting that big thing in my garage is not terribly feasible. That gasket looks lovely. So I'll probably use this to wrap up this part a million. This float was sticking open, but it's all right now. Yeah, I'd say all in all they did a pretty good job of cloning this thing. The clone even has thicker bosses for the float mount than the factory one. You know I want to pull that out, but I'm going to leave well enough alone. From the research I've done, that's the one thing that changed throughout some of these models, and that's why this one's not real easy to get. So the same carburetor can have a different kind of jet in it, maybe depending on where it was sold or when it was sold, but yeah, the stuff I was finding wasn't like this. I did find the part number, but like I said, it came up for like 20, I forget, 24, 25 bucks plus shipping. And this whole set here was $17 shipped, so that's a parts carburetor, unless by some miracle I come across one. Thread doesn't quite feel the same. I'll rub the seal off of it because I'm pretty sure that's going to give me a problem. But if that's the worst that it does to me, I'm okay with that. Alright, so just thought I'd share that. I'll put a link to it in the description below if anybody is ever having carburetor problems with this engine. Obviously not this tiller, because this isn't the right engine for that tiller, but they can look it up. And that's going to be it for at least this project until I get some better weather. So thanks for watching.